What's up, Crash Nation? This is Jonathan Wood. I'm here live with Easy Money and of Dylan Chilton, and none other than the All-American of Kyle Wardenhausen, Josh Wood, joining in. Believe Jacob's going to come on later to join as well. We have a big show in store. We got our biggest show of the year, in my eyes, one of the most special shows coming up. It's the prelude to the race for 28 in memory of Jacob Foxworthy. We've got two people here today that could be winners of it, could not, who knows. Last year, Kyle was able to probably have one of the most special moments that we've seen in the history of Missouri figure eight racing. Everybody that's tuning in, most of you guys know that Kyle was very close to Jacob, and he was able to wheel it to the win. We had a guy write a song about it. It was awesome. And Old Country Kenny wrote a song, and I got to listen to that. I thought it was awesome.
I forgot all about
I did too. I forgot all about that. You get 2.0 this year?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we'll see. It's just a tribute to Jacob and how emotional that night was, and I think everybody in the stands, they just got a warm, fuzzy feeling when you took the checkered, Kyle. And you gonna try to repeat this year?
Yeah. I normally don't bet on myself, but I'm going to bet on myself this weekend.
Yeah. And then sitting next to you, for all those that are tuning into YouTube, the chat's open. And Dylan, Easy Money, he's won 2 in a row in the series. And you're going for we call it the triple crown of the figure eight series. And do you think you got it in you, Dylan, to make a triple crown run?
I mean, take it lap by lap. I think so, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's just
possible, but it's a long shot.
Yeah, and I've been watching. I was just curious on my YouTube page to see the views for that last year's race for 28. I checked it 2 weeks ago, and I can't remember how many views it is, but it's up like 2,000 plays since then. And I'm going, this is all our figure eight guys just rewatching tape
over and over and over
last year. So, and I was just watching it kind of to recap, what happened last year. And I think I would just go ahead and say, for this race, it's going to be won from 14 to 28 laps. I don't think anyone's going to win it in the first lap. And I think we're going to see people try to. But I think the person that's going to win this race is going to be someone that looks way out in front of them. And when they go, they got to go, because we seen last year, Dylan was part of it. Kyle was kind of part of it, but most of the drivers, they were kind of getting pushed out into the center because there's people behind you that's like, let's go. And not really knowing that, the middle's going to be where all the problems happen. And we've seen a lot of action right there in the center. And the ones that we seen more successful were the ones that were looking ahead. And when they were coming out of the corner, they knew exactly when they were going to go and where they were going to go. And I think that's my little snippet on who's going to be successful Saturday night at Russellville. Before we get too far into this, I wanted to congratulate Kyle, the All-American, getting 3rd place at State Fair in the Gut and Go class. Congrats, yep. Kyle.
Thank you.
So tell everybody about there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast that don't really have us on Facebook or anything, and tell everyone about how it came of you running the State Fair.
Well, I was at Dylan's parents-in-law's watching the Sean O'Malley fight, and
about midnight.
Jordan Tobin texted and asked if anybody was wanting to run State Fair. And I told him I didn't have a car. And then he's like, well, I got a car. You build it, you drive it. And I was like, I don't know. It was already like 11 o'clock at night. And then Landon Worthy texted me and said I had no balls. So I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, went and got the car, stripped it, built it, and took it there.
Yeah, and I wasn't able to really even tune in to watch the Derby. It looked like good old the rock star Nichols himself brought home the win, and I think Jordan Tobin brought home second. I think that's the second year in a row bringing home second, if my memory.
Split first last year.
Yep, him and Kirk split first. That's right. So he does pretty good up there, and I'm just glad to see all the money come back to Central Missouri.
What was it? Me, Brian, Jordan, Kurt, and Troy ran up there.
Yeah, in the gut and go class, and then I know David Shaw ran in the built full size class they had. I don't know what they called it, but I thought he had it won. I was watching live on the Derbies of the Show Me State page, like 30 seconds into it. He was the only one running left, and the other guy was stuck.
Yeah,
And he come all the way across the track and knocked him off. And I was like, oh man. I've always called him the showstopper. He wasn't ready to stop the show quite yet. So
no.
Okay, Jacob's not gonna make it tonight, he says. So let's congrats to all the winners of the state fair. I don't have a list in front of me. I couldn't find a list on Facebook anywhere. But congrats to all them guys. We're gonna get back into the figure eight stuff because that's what mainly this podcast is gonna be about. And I know a bunch of the figure eight communities already tuning in and sending me messages. And they say get a haircut, Kyle. Nothing about Chilton though. He flows them blocks. So Dylan, I gotta ask, so you've got 2 wins in a row. And for those that are listening, what's it take to even get back to the track after one win and come out and repeat the same thing at the next week? We've seen you repeat several times throughout your career of figure eight racing, and last year you went on a 4-run race at the end of the year. Do you feel like you get like a flow, like a level of confidence that happens throughout the figure eight season that you just get better with the way the season goes, or is there something that clicks with you in the car, or what's it take?
Cheating.
Yeah, cheating. If you ask everyone else, it's cheating. No. Yeah, I mean, once you find it and you kind of get into that first podium finish, then you can get back to it again and get back to it. And I mean, making the feature to me is the hardest part. Once I'm in the feature, then I'm really comfortable. But I mean, I drive off the track whether I'm first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and people think we just go back out there and do it again and go do it again. But every week we pull the cars in and pretty well strip every tire, nut, and bolt off of it and put it right back on, make sure everything's tight. And I mean, we spend 2 or 3 nights down here a week just between races. Even if we drive off the track with the win, we pretty well strip the whole car apart and put it back together. And that's where I think you see we don't break too much. We still do break, but we don't break nearly as often as what we could have sometimes, because we catch a lot of stuff just pulling it off and putting it back on. If we see a stress crack somewhere or something that's slightly bent, we just go ahead and replace it. We don't even second guess it.
Yeah, I've seen Kyle's eyes raise up like, speak for yourself. But Kyle's been having a rough go of it this year, but you came out Russellville first race of the season and you put a win on right there at Russellville, and you've got to feel confident being you know what it takes to win the race for 28. You're the only person that can say that right now because we've only had one. And it's you know what it takes, and you gotta have your own level of confidence going into that race, Kyle, with just already winning it once, and you also won Russellville the first race of the year. That's got to give you some level of confidence going into this. So what's it take for you, Kyle, to win it?
Drive smart.
Yeah, I like that answer because last year we were kind of all making bets on how many cars were going to finish the A main, and I think all but like 6 cars drove off the track, if I remember right, maybe 7. And I was like, we were all like thinking half the field was going to be sitting ducks. And do you see that playing out this year the same way? We've seen some pretty brutal races here of late.
There's gonna be more than 6 cars broken.
The drivers are driving a lot harder this year than they normally do. So I see some bunch of piles up in corners and a couple of red flags. And the red flags is, as a driver on a car, it can make or break a car. Sitting in red flags, depending on how long they take, they'll kill it. So I mean, I don't. With the way a lot of drivers are starting to drive this year, I don't see it being as easy as it was last year, as smooth as it was last year.
I would be shocked. I'm going to go ahead and say it on here. I'd be shocked if we have the same result as last year with no red flags and only 6 cars broken down or whatever it was. Josh was our stats guy. He'd probably be able to tell you exactly how much cars were running at the end, but he's over there shaking his head. I think he's still getting set up.
Yeah, I've been I don't know what's been going on down there. I've
He
been
keeps
watching.
coming and going.
I think he was reading a book at one time. I don't have a clue.
No, I've been watching for the people that don't know, to kind of hinge off what Dylan was saying. Here in Missouri, it's been very humid and there's a lot of sweat that went into these cars, I'm sure, the last couple of weeks trying to get them ready. It's kind of a shorter turnaround with just finishing in California, which is a rougher track. And it's just a tribute to all the guys that are working in their shops right now. I can't tell you how many Snapchats I've been getting of people just drenched in sweat saying like, man, I don't know if it's worth it or not. And when you pull on the track Saturday night, guys, just take a look into the crowd. Them little kids that are going to be cheering you on, or your family members, and just take a look into the crowd and see, their reaction, seeing all you guys pulling on the track, knowing that the last week or two has been just so rough on all the drivers trying to get their cars put together for this special race. It's bigger than just a race. It's a memorial race. And we seen it last year. Just everyone, it was bigger than just a race last year. And I really, truly think that we're going to see the same thing this year. I've been looking ahead to the weather and hoping that it wasn't going to be 100+ degrees. And it looks like it's going to, as of right now, it looks like it's going to be a pretty decent night compared to what we've had. So I'm sure we're going to get a crowd. And just the guys that are struggling to put their cars together, just remember that we're all here together in the sport, and it's bigger than just a race. And we're so happy to see everybody come out and try their best for this. What is this going? Oh, I found out why he wasn't in there. I think Joshua is driving, but
No, I always enjoy the crowd. Whether they think it or not, we can hear them.
and so what do you guys think of the footballs at California,
Oh, the
throwing
football's
footballs in the
cool.
crowd.
I love them. I like them better than frisbees.
Yeah, they're frisbees. I try to throw straight, and they end up about 25 yards to the right, and
I can't.
they
throw
normally
frisbees.
stand straight up and hit someone in the forehead.
Well, I forgot to mention it last week, but I was watching Joshua Craig. He come out, he threw his football. I don't know if he thought the Chiefs were scouting or something. He looked like Patrick Mahomes. He threw it over that brick building. I mean, he just launched that thing. I was like, someone's gonna get hit in the head at the fair and be like, "What the heck is this?" But last year, before the race started, I think did everybody sign a flag or something like that?
Yeah.
Before the race. Josh was coming on now. I think that's gonna happen again. Josh, I don't know if you probably just missed it about I was asking about the flag thing. Everybody signed the flag last year before the race, and I was mentioning I think it's gonna happen again, but I'll let you kind of talk about that.
Yeah, yep. So that's something that Jacob's dad wants to keep doing every year. I'm not sure what his plan is or where he has the other flag hidden, but or maybe it's not hidden, maybe it's out somewhere, but it's important to him that he wants to keep getting all the drivers to sign the American flag, and then he's going to take it home and do something with it. I'm not sure what maybe Kyle knows, but I know that it's super important to him, and it's one way that he feels connected. He still feels like Jacob's connected to the sport, so that's something that we're happy to help out with, and I know the drivers are all are connected with that as well.
Yeah, that was a special moment. I wasn't expecting that last year, and it was so cool before the race to see all the drivers standing out there and signing that flag, because everyone just came up and the crowd kind of got to see the drivers outside the car. Sometimes, our crowd don't know what our drivers look like, and we had a lot of first timers in the crowd, and they got to see what the drivers' faces look like up close. And what did you guys think about the 3 wide start last year? Were you a fan of that, or?
I think it worked about right. I mean, there's no way you're going too wide. I mean, I got stuck in the middle, so I just kind of the first whole lap or 3/4 of the lap, I barely even touched the gas. I just let the other cars take me, and I just turned the wheel. But if you're not stuck in the middle, then it's pretty good.
I enjoyed it. I mean, we can do it some more.
We can put some more cars in that feature.
I'll do 3 wide start.
That's one thing that I really enjoy about the race for 28 is 28 cars start the feature. No matter what, 28 cars are starting the feature. You can't knock a position out like before, like you can at other races. And I enjoy that. Just the 3 wide last year, I felt like it was just chaos for the first, the whole race was chaos, but it was really
the first 28 laps was chaos.
But,
yeah, it's cool because one of the unique things we've always kind of just let the fastest lap, we always rearrange the first couple of rows of the heat winners with the fastest lap. So for a race for 28, we put the fastest lap, whether you won your heat or not, he starts out front on his own, and then from there on back, there's 9 rows of 3 cars. So that's just there's definitely more incentive to get fastest lap. You just kind of out there in front. There's also some badass trophies. I don't know if Zach's gonna be able to get them done. He just lost his grandpa, so I know he's going through some rough times as well. But we'll get that trophy made eventually. But it's awesome to watch that 3 wide, that first corner. Just don't want to be in the middle. Everyone loves 3 wide unless you're in the middle.
You don't wanna do that.
I think I'd rather be in the middle than on the outside of that, like the third row back. If you go back and watch, that person got screwed. I don't know who he was, but I was watching the start just to kind of see how that went for a lot of people. And that third row back, that guy may have been fourth row back. Someone got pushed clear out, like almost on top of that log that clears that entrance over there. I mean, he lost like probably 10 spots in one corner, and that's got to be rough. Joshua Craig said, my driving style is just going to be hold it to the floor. Yeah,
So
that's a lot of,
that's-
I think that's a lot of people's mentality, or they just say that. And I'll be interested to see. I don't know. I see a lot of, last year I was shocked, but I feel like it might be cleaner than we expect, even though that most people, you think like, man, it's going to be chaos and there's going to be a lot of junk. I feel like deep down, I feel like it might be cleaner than we expect. There's going to be some hard hits in the middle, probably, but
Yeah, there'd be some hits, but with that many cars, it's hard to get as much speed as what we normally do. So the hits won't be as hard, as consistent. It'd be a lot of pecking, I believe.
So I'm kind of jumping in here at the end. I'm not sure what you guys have covered, but is there a different strategy that you guys, you're kind of benefiting? I think you guys went 1-2 last year. Is that right?
Yeah.
First and second. So you guys kind of have a little bit of inside baseball on, how the first couple laps, you've seen it once, not saying it's going to be the same thing, but is there a different strategy that you're going to take in if you're able to make the feature?
I'm gonna hold to the same strategy I had last year. That seemed to work pretty well. I'm not gonna change much on my half. Kyle might be different because he got pushed up pretty early, so he had to be pretty aggressive if I were to guess, but that's for him to answer.
Yeah, I try to play it like I do every feature. If you watch every feature, I always start slow. I let the first couple laps decide, because first couple laps you either get the pile up that go way out, and I try to stay out of it. So if I just watch where I'm at and let all them guys push each other around, I can normally take the inside and run away from them. So I mean that's what I tried to do last year, and I ended up getting shut up to a log. Luckily, I didn't go over the log. Youngmeyer saved me from that one. So, but after that, then I just stuck my foot to the floor and played it smart through the intersection and try to stay out of all the bullshit. So.
Yeah, I have kind of an inside look of the lap times, and I can definitely see that there's trends that happen. There's some drivers, like you said, take it easy, and then their laps get faster as whether people go down or the race progresses. And I was just looking back, and I think it was earlier today or maybe yesterday, but I was looking back at the race for 28 lap times. You ended up having the fastest lap, Kyle, of the feature anyways. And that the fastest lap didn't come to like lap 22. So there's, just like you were saying, there's definitely some take it slow. And then, whenever you get down to, I don't know, 20 or 15 plus laps, you're really hammering it on.
Yeah, I can't preach enough. You 99% of the time you'll never win a race in the first 5 laps.
No, even Landon can vouch for that. You ain't gonna win in the first lap. He likes to give him away at the end.
Oh shit.
That's
Harsh.
I'm glad,
Harsh.
Kyle, I'm glad you came on today, because I feel like you could speak to it more than anyone else. What does this event mean for the Foxworthy family?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, Jacob was big in the sport. Even when he stopped driving, he still went to all of them. I mean, we traveled around. We went to multiple derbies, even if there was no figure eights. I mean, Jacob's life was evolved around this sport. And then even when he decided he didn't want to drive no more, he still showed up to about all of them, showed up to the shop, helped on the car. I mean, he never stopped this sport. So when he passed, his family knew that, you know, no matter where we're at, what race we're at, Jacob would have been there. So they knew that to keep his legacy alive, it had to run through this sport.
Yeah. And just to piggyback off of that, Jacob, man, he had a smile on his face everywhere we went. And my favorite memory looking back, like just through my memory bank of races was it had to be when we were at Boonville, and there's that big mud pit in that one corner, and he would freaking hit that. I don't know if he was riding or driving, but he was so stoked to hit that every lap. Like I was like, holy crap, look at this guy. And he's a little shorter guy, so he's just like going through that mud. It looked like a kid in a candy store. He was hitting that mud hole like a mud racer on a Saturday night, and that was just one of my favorite memories of being at the track with the guy. For a lot of people that don't know, a lot of us would come in just covered in mud, and he was, and he's just pumped as could be. I don't know if the car he was running that night was running better than it normally did, or he was kind of telling me about it, and I just can't remember. All I just remember of that moment is him hitting that freaking mud hole every time he'd come around that corner, just grinning ear to ear. And uh, to me, that was just a special moment, just to see a guy out there having fun. And it just spoke to what I remember of Jacob. He's always having fun, cracking jokes with people, and he was a big part of the sport to everybody that raced with him, to the everyone that knew him, all the drivers. He talked to everybody, and it's just he was awesome to have around the sport. So just it just kind of speaks to who Jacob was, who his family is, and they're all good people. And I'm so glad that they let us put on this event, or help put on the event in my case. And I'm just excited for what's about to happen on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean it's my favorite event, and I know that we get so caught up in talking about the race, of 28 cars, 28 laps, and it's important for us not to lose sight of what the actual event's for. The race is awesome, don't get me wrong, like it's the wildest shit that I've ever seen, but the coolest part is just having the honor to do this, and then just seeing the drivers before and after. Man, he was such a larger than life personality. This race is it's such a larger than life race. But then all the drivers, man, they, just like you were saying beforehand, signing that flag, you get to see the camaraderie. When it's all when it's all said and done, and everyone's retired, or whatever, after everybody's done racing, there we'll always have memories, and we'll always have buddies like these two, and it's just an awesome time to be at the track around the drivers, and to be a part of it. And it's certainly not going to disappoint the fans, but for us as promoters, it's just giving back to the drivers, because we know that Porky was one, and that's what he would want. So
Yeah, it was a pretty good time last year. I like the kind of the hot laps that we did before the show even started too. The 28 cars out there, kind of made a couple circles. Like you said, it kind of let the fans see the cars ahead of time, and everybody out there not needing their helmets on, they can kind of get a look at all of them, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was an awesome moment too. The sky was blue and orange, and
Yeah,
he just knew he was watching. He just knew it, and I
That
still
may
get
have been
chills.
that may have been the
I s-
first event at Russellville, the opener.
I don't know. But
You guys got your
I was
cars
still,
ready?
No, but we were working on it tonight.
I haven't even touched mine yet.
he's too busy winning third place.
It's too darn hot for that.
Yeah, I got to. Well, I don't know. I think I need a control arm, wheel bearing, spindle. Check the car over the rest of the way, but that's just what I know off the top of my head.
What happened?
This right foot.
It didn't
Well,
happen in the
that's
feature, I
spindle,
can tell you that. That heat race got the best of them.
This right foot. The dirt coming off the dirt berm is not easy on a car. I'll tell you that.
What happened in the heat race?
For the first time ever, I can say I lost where I was at. I didn't know that Johnny was a lap down.
Johnny didn't know he was lap down either.
I wasn't going to let the new guy come shove me up the wall and not push back. So I just stayed hammered into her, and he tried to push me into that little Camry that was on the side, and I wasn't going to let it happen. So I broke us both.
That was so awesome. You guys were just holding it to the floor across the track. I mean, that's all you could hear was them two just giving it all they got. I wasn't even watching the guy cross the finish line. I was just watching them race.
That's probably the only time the car opened up all night, because out of 30 cars, the lap times, I'm not even on it. So
Kyle's like, man, my car runs like shit. I'm like, man, it's running pretty good right there with Johnny, though.
that car ain't got no power out the hole. My lap times are going down. It's got no power out the hole.
That was awesome.
Maybe just hit the dirt every time and she'll be opened up every
If you
time.
dump the dirt, the RPMs go up. I promise you that. It's not easy on them coming down.
I just want to wish you guys luck this week, and can't wait to see you out there. And I don't know, it's going to be a wild race. I'm sure there's no real way to predict this, but I'm going to get into some predictions here in a little bit. And I thank you guys for coming on the podcast and talking about it.
Problem.
You guys, we got anything you want to say before you get off here to your fellow competitors, or anything that you just want to say to the listeners or anything like that?
Come on out. It'll be fun. You won't see 28 cars again until next year.
Yep.
And if you plan on coming, bring your A game, because I'm going to try to myself.
Shout out to Mid Mo Outdoors. I don't know who that is, but they got their car all ready, they said.
We're working on it. Blaine's on vacation this week, so our barbarian is out of order right now. So we're kind of handling everything on our own this week, but he's coming back the night of 28. So we'll see if he might be able to make a consi, maybe not. So we don't know if he's going to be there or not.
So am I gonna have to order you another trophy?
Order me one.
Yeah, the Triple Crown trophy.
Oh, ask me after the race. One lap at a time. I'm gonna give it all I got. I gotta make the feature first. I seem to struggle making features this year, I guess. I've already missed two. Missed New Bloomfield and Cole County. Had to use my get out of jail free card for Cole County.
You got a chance to do something that I really didn't think would ever be done. So I'm secretly rooting for you, and then I'm secretly rooting against you, because I still don't really know if I want it to be done. But if you can do it, man, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Well, I hope I can, but everybody else hopes they can win too. So we'll we'll see what everybody's got. And hell, as long as DBR brings it home, I don't care who the hell takes it. If one of us take it, then I'll be happy with that.
Is Kyle a part of DVR?
Oh yeah.
I just get so lost.
Oh yeah. There's four of us.
Anytime you talk about the free agent, man, it just depends on what sport you're in, what season it is. Kyle's wearing different colors.
No, there's 4 and 4 only.
I'm on 2 teams and a driver for 1, I swear.
No, me, Nate, Kyle, and Blaine. That's all you got. That's all I can ask for too.
Well, you guys are such assholes to Dawson, man.
He's the junior in the making. He's the DBR junior.
We make sure his car makes.
He's not official. Oh, trust me, every race day, car's in this shop getting worked on. That car comes on a trailer and gets pulled into the shop every race day. He'll have a month off and still not work on the summer bitch until the night before. Him and Slim are brothers. They work identical.
Well, Dawson, he's still down in like the D League of the NBA. He's probably like the double A team of the MLB. Roy.
Dude, we call him the DBR junior.
He's still a free agent. He's up for signing if somebody wants him.
Yeah, he just finished 5th place, and
he's making a hell of a performance. He's driving real good. Cole County, he drove off. California, he drove off. He's doing good.
You can tell it's his free agent
now. After you just said he's not good enough.
Hey, he drinks warm natural lights.
Okay? Yeah, he drinks them out of the back seat of his truck.
So I mean, we can only help him so much.
And he is a Cowboys fan too. We can't have that.
Hey, now that's kind of cold. You got to leave my boys out of it.
Oh, shoot.
You're a Cowboys fan too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
I'm sorry.
No, not me.
Hey, all them defense are gonna be chasing old Deuce Vaughn all summertime.
Once they get him, though.
Old Deuce Vaughn in a size 6 women cleats.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Dawson Gump's about in the top 10 in points. Then what are you guys gonna do?
He's getting there.
Get promoted?
Stay with Forrest, a lot less work and headache.
I'm just hoping someone else picks him up. That's what it sounds like to me. And he's making his strong push for the free agency right now. It must be a signing year.
And you.
No.
Oh,
I got nothing to do with figure 8 cars over there. I don't look at them. I don't work on them.
No, I'd say Dawson's pretty comfortable where he's at. He can pretty well come to the shop and pick a part off the shelf if he needs it. And he'll pull his car in the shop if it needs worked on. So, I mean,
spoiled.
We help him quite a bit. We call him kind of, he's DBR junior, but he's just not on the payroll is what we call it.
So rumor has it that you guys are bringing a fresh car out for a race for 28. Is that any truth to that?
No,
it won't be this week.
Oh, so there is a new car in the making.
Oh yeah.
we don't ever stop building.
Yeah, we don't ever stop. Hell, I got my next car in the shop already stripped out for next year. So
Blaine's car is going on 2 full seasons, and that old girl's hurt her. Like,
56 is.
It should have been done for sales.
It should, yeah.
I took it to work, pulled it a couple times, and I mean, it's literally got bolts holding it together with big old washers. The floorboards are gone. The firewall is gone. So he was done with it for sales. We fixed it, and he was going to bring out the new car, and then, or he was going to do it.
Montgomery was supposed to be the last race,
Montgomery,
and then he won. He's like, I can't give up on it now. So then he took it to the next one, and then
it's
then put out another good show. Well, I can't give up on it now. Now it's finally a give up on it.
It's time to send that old girl to the scrapyard. That old girl's hurt, but it's been a really good car.
Oh yeah, it's been a good one.
For as rusty as it was when we started, it's lasted a lot longer than I think any of us thought it would.
Yeah, she's pretty rusty.
That old O2 behind you starting to snoot up a little bit. I think
Oh,
George got the
it
best
was
of you there in California.
that thing was snooting last year.
Him and Nate like to smack each
Oh
other.
man, Nate, I don't know what I'm glad we figured that out this year, but man, last year I hit him harder and he hit me harder than anybody else on the track. We'd get back to the pits and we after the feature, we'd walk up to one of the other guys. He's like, "Man, you wouldn't believe it. I just fucked Nate up." Like we were hyping each other up about it. It's like you shouldn't be excited about this. Go hit somebody else, not each other.
That's hilarious.
Just feel good to be back on top of the point series. You're leading points right now, Dylan. Kyle's you're running third in points.
Wouldn't even know where I
This
was at.
weekend. This weekend will have a lot to do with how the points look right after this.
Yeah, I guess it feels all right. I mean, no expectations this year. Like I said at the beginning of the year, I have no plans, no expectations. Gonna try to make my car last out the rest of this season. She's like you said, she's starting to nose up a little bit. So I'm there now, but I don't know if I'll be there by the end. I just show up, have fun, and take it one race, and like I always say, one lap at a time. Been having a lot of fun this year.
That's what it's all about, just having fun. And it seems like every year you guys say, well, we're just going to have fun. And then at the end of the year, you're like, well, looks like we're winning points or you know.
As soon as I quit trying so hard and quit trying to just make a point to try to have to do good every time, and as soon as I got that out of my head, it seems like things started coming a lot smoother, a lot easier. Work on it when I want to, not when I have to. Kind of just have more fun at the track, walk around, talk to people, not just always nitpicking everything and looking over it all the time at the track. Just do it at the shop, and when we get there, just leave it alone. It's more fun,
Yeah.
not having to stress about everything. Just if I don't make it, load it on the trailer, and there's always a passenger seat I can hop in with.
I feel like that's a very well said comment. A lot of people, you see them, they put so much stress on themselves, and you got to do perfect every night. And when they don't, it's a huge letdown, even more than what it would be if you're just trying to have fun. I mean, everybody's trying to win every night.
Of course, I try.
But even though, I feel like the ones that are like, man, I gotta do really good this week. And then if something happens, it just haunts them all week long. Like, man, I got to get better for the next race and stuff like that. But that's the competitor and a lot of people coming out too. I mean, it's tough not to look at the points and go, I gotta place the top 5 or whatever this week. And so
You gotta find a good
that's
happy medium. It's nice to be competitive, but at the same time, you gotta relieve a little bit. You can't stress so much about it. Feel like you almost do worse, worrying about it way too much. We still got a outside life outside of racing.
good.
Yeah, well, in
That's,
racing, if you keep this up, we're gonna have to have, it'll be another conversation of instead of, he's one way around away from the Triple Crown, it's gonna be, man, he's just a few more good finishes away from having 2 rings on his hand and really holding a lot of weight. I don't know if he'll be able to fit his head inside of the car.
Oh, they tell me I got to open the garage door before I walk out of it.
We got big garage doors.
The big garage door, not the walk-through door.
Any predictions before we get you off here? What's gonna happen Saturday night?
I hope I win it.
I mean,
For the first time ever, I'm gonna put it on myself. I normally don't root on myself, but I'm gonna root on myself.
I hope I can be there.
I don't want to hand the crown over yet.
I know everybody's seen him struggle, but I really think Nate's going to come out and put on a good show. We're working on that car. It'll get figured out. I think this would be a good one for him to come out and kind of redeem himself a little bit.
Yeah, and if
He'll be one to
you guys
watch.
look,
He ended up third place last year. He'll be the one to beat for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, if you look back on that video, he was actually putting down some really solid laps. He was passing multiple cars, and then something happened in the middle with him and Youngmeyer. I don't know. I mean, they took each other both to the, I mean, they hit like in the middle of the track. Both of them were trying to get around each other, and they went all the way to the end of the track together.
No, yeah, he got stuck in the middle for 3 laps too
Oh, last year Nate.
in the race for 28.
Yeah, he got hooked up.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, he got stuck there in the middle of the track for a while.
Yeah,
I think he was leading it.
Oh yeah, he was running real good last year until he got hooked.
Didn't you stick him somewhere, Kyle?
His place? No, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you where I was at that whole race. I didn't even know I took the white nor the checker till Brian and my brother kept screaming at me in the passenger seat of the car. I didn't know it was even over. I was still trying to go till I realized everybody was stopping. But I think whoever, I think it was Clinton that got stuck to Nate.
Yeah, Clinton and
I appreciate that one because I don't think I was gonna be able to catch him if he didn't. Nate was moving.
That's why Chilton wasn't winning, because Clinton wasn't riding.
Yeah, Clinton was in racing, and I told him, I said, "You just keep your car on the trailer."
I'm about to give. If I had a feature pass, I'd give it to Clinton to use on Saturday. Get that good luck coming out of that seat.
No, I remember last year. I got pushed out wide or something. There's a big old traffic jam in the middle. For some reason, this is not me, but I said, "The hell with it." And I just stuck her to the floorboard, and the first car I found was Nate's trunk. I went up Nate's trunk so hard, I felt bad. I gave him whiplash. I had to.
Everybody was hitting everybody.
Oh, I
go back
got him so hard.
You go back and watch that video. Kyle come all the way across the track.
I smoked him in the trunk too. I came up off the front end, came up off the ground. I about ramped his trunk.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is we'll race each other just as hard as we'll race anybody else. I mean, we're not gonna just because he's winning points, we're not just gonna go out there and block for him and let him have it. We're gonna run him down and race him just as hard as we are anybody else. We ain't giving it to nobody.
Good luck, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I know you guys got a lot of work ahead of you, it sounds like, and it's hot. So
Hell, I got the shop AC set to 71. I'm doing okay.
oh dang.
That's perks of doing that for a living.
Yeah, I was gonna say JC Heating and Cooling.
Yeah,
right there.
that's the perks.
So, thanks for coming on. Good luck, and
thank you. We'll
see you guys Saturday.
And maybe have a couple sodies.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, guys. Right.
Thank you.
You'll need it.
I will. Oh yeah, I will.
You're blind. There you go.
That was Dylan Chilton and Kyle Wordenhausen. Both of them finishing 1 and 2 last year. Both of them have a lot on the line this year. Dylan, of course, has the pressure of trying to be the first Triple Crown winner. Kyle trying to be the first repeat winner of the race for 28. Both very hard feats, I have a feeling, to get done. Joshua, do you have anything you want to say to the drivers before I get into this analytical segment?
Yeah, we'll go over it in the drivers meeting, but it's always nice to, for the people that aren't in the drivers meeting, kind of what it goes down, the kind of special things about our event, the race for 28 anyways. So because it's 28 was Jacob's number. We're pretty set on having a 28 car field. So in the past where drivers have, they driven 2 cars and maybe they made it and they made both cars and they took, they basically take away a feature spot whenever that happens. We're not going to, like, if they take away a feature spot, we're just going to add, we're just going to take more out of the consi instead of moving it back to the next heat like we did last year. So, if the driver makes it in the heat, we're not going to let them run a consi. And if the driver makes it, actually, we'll just let them run the consi. That's all right. We'll just take them out of the consi. So we're not going to let them go if they get second in the heat and the guy that beat them was driving 2 cars. We want 28 cars to start the feature. Let's see. Everything is, yes, hard charger, just like we said, is going to start out front, regardless of heat finish. So if you're running third in a heat and you missed the feature, but you put up a really good lap time, I guess it'll be the fastest lap that made the feature. What else?
So the fastest lap that makes the feature will start up front like we did last year.
Yep.
And so I had a question because they kind of mentioned it on here. So it sounds like to me to be in the race for 28, you're going to have to earn it. I'm guessing there will be no feature passes accepted in this race, which I feel like is a fair thing to do, with it being double points and such a big event. You gotta earn it to be there. So I liked how you said that. And just for clarification, so if you're racing against a guy that wins his heat, or he won a heat earlier and he's out there and he wins it again, that don't mean you get to go to the A. You have to fight it out in the B still.
Yep.
So there still could be some strategy in that. Driving 2 cars, or you never know. Even though they won't get extra points for winning 2 heats, they'll just get the same amount of 1 heat win.
Yep.
But there could be some strategy like, oh, I've got Dylan Chilton in my heat. I'm not going to let him win the heat, But it could be something like that, where they have to fight their way through the consi to make it. I like it. That was one of my questions for you. I liked it. I like that. Another thing that I think this event brings is it just brings people. I think a lot of people that weren't there last year that heard about it will be there this year, to either drive in it or to watch it. I mean, what we seen last year, the chaos that took place on the track. How could you be a fan of the sport, or even just a person that wants to check out a figure 8? Why wouldn't you circle this one on your calendar? I know the Derbies of the Show Me State guys were there last year, and they were like, "Holy crap, that was crazy!" And then we seen them at a bunch of figure 8s last year and a couple this year already. So I'm excited to see how many new fans come, just show up at this race and become fans of the sport as well. I think it's a cool way to get introduced to what the Worthy Bill Bonds Championship Series is all about. So what events wise, is it just the Worthy Bill Bonds and Powder Puff that's going on? I've had some people reach out, and I haven't been able to find out. Like, it's just Powder Puff, Worthy Bell Bonds, and Power Wheels, right? No youth.
Oh, I thought we were running youth. I'll have to
Oh,
clarify
are we?
with Jacob, but I see it's not on the flyer. But the youth are supposed to be running every Russellville show and at the race or the fair show. So.
All right, so for the 13 youth drivers that have reached out to me, there's your answer. They're gonna they will get back with you guys. Just watch their Facebook page. Um, I know I've had a couple reach out and they were asking. Um, so for some predictions that are of this race, just some predictions that earlier before you came on, I was saying I feel like the person that's going to win this is going to be someone that is driving smart and looking way ahead, shooting the gaps. You know, when they come out of the corner, they're going to have to shoot a gap and hope it doesn't close up. Uh, and then I feel like the one that just goes and commits to it is going to be the one that's going to, that sees the hole and takes it every time is going to be the one that comes out on top. I feel like the person that's going to stop and get pushed out in the center and get popped, in the pile up, probably won't have as good as a chance of winning this race. For me, that's prediction of driving style that you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of people trying to decide where to go before they even go. And I feel like they ain't going to get pushed. Like they're not going to creep out to the center this year. We've seen a lot of people that were creeping, and I've seen a lot of people were watching game film and saying, "Oh, if I creep, I'm gonna get pushed from behind, and then I'm in someone, I'm getting pushed into another guy's getting pushed." And I feel like it's an experience thing when it comes to that too. We see a lot of people getting better at doing that, and we've seen some really good drivers that are good about doing it year after year. And the first person that comes to my mind is Jake Timbrook. He's one that he's really good at looking ahead and shooting the gaps, and we've seen him have success in races that are more piled up, in a shorter track before. And I feel like he would be one to watch in this race as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I can remember back whenever I was driving. Doesn't matter how long you do it. If there's no gap there to shoot and you're creeping, one of the worst feelings in the world is seeing some guy that you have to stop for. There's no way to shoot that gap, and there's a line of cars, and just feeling some son of a bitch behind you just smiling ear to ear, pushing you out there. That I just still makes me angry, even just talking about it now. And I know that there's a lot of that, and there's going to be a lot of that with 28 cars. So it's just whoever, it's going to be a luck thing for a lot of it. A lot of Kyle's. If you watch the tape, windows were opening. It's not like he was finding them. They would just come around the corner, and he just got lucky that a car broke down or something, the lap, the corner before or something like that. So that's going to be the biggest thing, is the luck factor. I feel like he may have had some help from upstairs last year. May have some help from upstairs this year. Who's to tell? But there definitely is something to be said for being decisive, and that that decision making ability, especially for this race coming up, is going to be crucial.
yeah, and I'm interested. We've seen a lot of that happening at New Bloomfield, and James Fisher and Jordan Youngmeyer were right there at the end, and they were both doing a really good job. And they're two drivers. I feel like they've been knocking on the door, and they've just had some bad luck the last few races. And I feel like, their luck could change Saturday night. And I feel like a lot of the V6 guys, their cars are getting hot. So what we see with the V6 cars is when you're out there running an extra 8 to 14 laps, I'm wondering how their cars are going to keep cool. I'm wondering what kind of cars we're going to see out there. If we're going to see the same amount of 6 cylinders that we've been seeing all year, are we going to see new 6 cylinders, people trying it for the first time for this race? Are we just going to see a lot more compact cars because people know the track's going to be tight? There's just going to be all kinds of stuff that we don't know what will happen until we get to the track, and then you see how the track is. Is the track going to play a role? There's so many different different streets or valleys or how this race could go. There's so many different avenues that affect the way the race takes place. And this race is, like we said, it's for Jacob, but as a fan of the sport, there's nothing like it. There's just watching 28 cars. It matters where you start. It matters, how the flow of the race goes. Is it going to be an all or nothing at the beginning, or is a lot of people going to try to take it easy for 10 to 14 laps and then turn it on, or 5 to 10 laps and then turn it on? And deep down, I feel like, yeah, it's going to get crazy, but I feel like I think people are going to be shocked how many cars finish again. I feel like people just their cars are getting better and better. Their drivers are getting better and better. And the equipment that they're showing up to, you can tell they're comfortable in it, or, they're really getting more comfortable in what they're driving. And I just feel like it's going to make a big impact on how they do out there. Also, someone that has been putting a lot of pressure on themselves, and I feel like might take a step back this week and say, you know what, I'm just going to go out and have fun because they listen to this podcast, is Johnny Egger. He's he's right there knocking on the door several races, and he's one of them guys. If you watch the way he drives, he's always looking way ahead, picking his holes in a conservative manner most of the time. And I feel like that's going to bode well for him in this race. And I feel like if the first 6 laps goes his way, he'll really be someone to beat towards the end. I've watched Johnny.
Yeah, if Johnny's smart, he'll stay away from Kyle, because I think if he's next to Kyle's gonna want to beat him. I don't know what it is, but he may be a lap down. Kyle's not gonna let Johnny Egger pass him. So
Joshua Craig said, don't worry about Johnny. The 420 will be showing them the way. It's been the case lately. I mean, Joshua's coming on. He got a 4th place at California, and that car was on rails. Josh, I know you're out there on the live chat right now. Do you have any problems with your temperature in your V6, or is that just something that you've got figured out? Maybe that people are putting most of too much of a tune in. I'm just wondering if the V6s are going to stay cool for the whole 28 laps. That's something a lot of them guys, you start talking to them, their temperature's way up. So
they're 206-degree motors or something like that. They're going to be higher than the Ecotechs are used to.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've talked to a lot of people and they said, man, they can't just keep it cool. It gets too hot. I'm just interested to see whether or not that plays a role in if any of them get too hot, because there's a lot of them out there this year. Something. Oh, he says he's got it all figured out. So that's good to hear.
Little water wetter. That's all you need.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. There's definitely some names that come to mind. It's 28 laps. It's, we talk about how it's a driver's game, but there's definitely equipment that I feel like plays especially to an advantage with 28 laps. And when there's a lot of beating and banging going on with your tires, do you have the setup to maybe I know a lot of guys run stock tie rods because they would rather break a tie rod than break a rack. But are they running bendable tie rods, or are they running stock tie rods? Is their front ends built to break or bend, or so there's a lot of that equipment that's going to play a factor as well.
Oh yeah, because I don't think it matters who's out there. I feel like at some point in time you're either going to hit someone or get hit, and your equipment's going to have to withstand the test. And we'll just see what happens. I mean, um, last year we've seen a bunch of cars getting pushed out to the center, and I just feel like a lot of people's been watching tape, and there's going to be a lot of people just shooting gaps and hoping they're there. And I don't know if you watched the Kyle's onboard camera from that race last year, but man, you'd see holes that you thought were there, and then by the time you get there, cars would come out of nowhere. So it's who knows what what. I haven't been in that situation where there's that many cars on the track where it's that congested to be able to give a real good answer on how to even drive that. So
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely driving with his heart. There was some holes, and maybe even whenever there weren't holes, he was making them. So there's whoever wins it. I'm going to predict their car is going to take a beating. I know his did last year. Man, I'm looking at on this driver's list, and we got 28 spots. And whenever we first, we're kind of thinking of this, I was like, dang, it's going to be a feature where you can really get in, even if you've been struggling to get in, it'll be easier to make. But whenever you look at, even the top 50 drivers, you're going, well, like 50th in points is Tracy Sneerich. Like you see her putting down the top lap time, you're going, shit, man, I don't know if we have 28 spots even still isn't enough to get all of the good drivers that we have in our series on the track at one time.
oh no, it's got to be hard making the A. I mean, there's so much talent, and the cars they're so fast. And I seen on Snapchat, everyone's tinkering with some stuff. That IMR team, they're trying some new stuff out, and I can't wait to see how that plays out this week. And just you look around, everyone's trying out some different things throughout the year, and they find a little bit of something that just it makes them faster, and they build on that. They just keep getting faster and faster. And man, I just can't wait to see, first of all, who makes it, and then the strategy that goes into it from where they're starting from. Um, I mean, you could look down that list of 50 drivers and say any one of them could possibly win this show. And there's definitely you could make a case for a lot of people that they could come out here and very realistically win this race and put their name in the history books for winning the second annual race for 28.
Yeah, I kind of remember, our conversations last year about this may be one of them, old school races where you got to survive to win. Then I know you were talking about, I was halfway paying attention. I was putting my kids to sleep, but you were talking about how, I think there was like 20, maybe 19 cars drive off the track, or 22, something like that, drove off the track last year. So whenever you think of, because I was thinking last year, like, man, it's got to be an old school guy that's going to be out there to survive. And, Nate Dummermuth comes to mind, Kurt, the Piters, Nick Long, well, not Nick Long, but, like Jake Timbrook comes to mind when you think of that survive mentality. Chilton's even kind of got his own, survive mentality. He somehow mastered, kind of riding that edge of survive and then still being able to put down some damn fast laps.
Yeah, he's smooth. I mean, he just looks so comfortable out there. It's crazy. And then you see drivers that are streaky where, they could have bad races all year, but you're in the back of your mind, you're like, this guy could show up at any race and win and win big. I mean, just stomp people. And just like last year, Dylan White, he was running a heck of a race for a good like 10 laps, and then he got caught up. And he's a driver that he just sends it. And will he show up? Will he send it? There's just so many what ifs and um, out there. And will it be a newcomer? Will Dylan Cardwell or someone like that show up and dominate their heat and have a good spot in the A and just run a solid, smooth race and come out of nowhere? I think it's anyone's race, and I felt like you hit the nail right on the head. It's a luck thing. You got to have a lot of luck in this race. There, sure, you got to have talent, but there's definitely some luck that goes into what happens on the track. And you seen it last year. Nate was running. You heard Kyle say even himself, like he don't think he would have caught him, and he just got caught up in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and it cost him the race. And we've seen it happen to Landon a couple times this year where he's been running a good race and he'll get caught up and 3 or 4 cars will go by him and he has to fight his way back to second or something. And that's just the name of the game. I do got a question for you. What would you tell someone that's never, how do you describe the race for 28 for someone that's new to the sport, that's never been around the sport? When you would go to describe like what the race for 28 is, how would you explain that to somebody?
I'm a little bit. I look at figure eight a lot different than most people, and I think you kind of see through that lens of, a lot of people think, oh, you take 28 hillbillies, you throw them on the track, and you watch them go have fun, and they're gonna bang into each other. But for me, man, you take 28 of the most competitive drivers that you've ever met, and you put them all on the track, and you say, hey, you're not only racing for some decent prize money. We're gonna pay everyone that starts this race, but you also tell them, hey, you're gonna race, in a fellow driver's name. I know he wasn't maybe as close to a lot of drivers as they were, Kyle and Chilton and all the younger guys, but even then, everyone holds this connection to Jacob. So all the drivers kind of, it just means that much more when you're racing, under a fellow driver's memorial race. So you put 28 of the most competitive guys, you put a little soberness in their hearts, and you tell them to go out there and go through an intersection where you're going to meet, you're in it. It's inevitable to meet a car every lap. You put 28 cars out there for 28 laps, you're gonna see the most wildest shit that my eyes have ever laid on. So it's fucking nuts.
Yeah. It's a race that Jordan Pider could very well win. He's been there. He's been there so close this year, and I just see him keep getting better and better. And then I go back and watch videos,
He
and
ain't even gonna
no,
be there.
he's not.
No.
He could win it in his dreams.
Yeah, Ryder's missing this race. So
Oh man, I watch
he would have
videos.
been he was actually one of my picks whenever I was thinking, man, old school guy, he's got the equipment, he's been knocking at the door, but yeah, he's not even going to be there, unfortunately.
Oh man, another driver that when you say old school, that you think if they race, they have a shot as Chad Bish. He doesn't even look like he lost a step. He got out there and he runs. You watch him take the corners, and he takes them different than a lot of people, but he's very good about getting to the inside of that tire. And with a race like this, I feel like when it's there, you gotta be hugging that tire, but there's gonna be times that you can't. And it's finding those valleys before you get there that are gonna be the key to winning this. How many pileups you think we're gonna have in the A main? Like track closed, people gotta find their way around it.
I'm gonna guess less than you think. Like I said, I think by the time you whittle down, we'll probably have, you know, like 60 to 70 cars, maybe more, who knows. When you take, we'll just call it 70 cars, and you whittle them down to 28, so you're cutting it in more than half. Those drivers have all earned it. And the drivers you're going to see in the feature are going to be, they're going to be driving, man. So I don't think we'll see, maybe one.
Yeah, I was gonna put it at 2. Over unders at 2 for the feature. And I'm gonna go with under 2. I'm gonna say there's gonna be 1. That's gonna be in that freaking corner.
Right underneath the transponders.
Yep. Let's hope not, but I don't know. That's usually where it happens. So where the transponders are, that's where the pileups gonna be, you know. But yeah, I feel like there's gonna, without seeing the track, there's gonna be one pile up where drivers are gonna have to fight their way through it. You're gonna see someone catch a lucky break who's gonna pretty much gain a whole lap on someone, you know, the field whenever they're out there and the pile up happens behind them. So that's my prediction on that part. Hold take, uh, who I think's gonna be the winner this week. Just a shot. And I mean, like I said earlier, it could be anyone's race, but just a prediction I'm going to make is I feel like Jordan Youngmeyer is going to get it done. He's a guy that's super hard to beat in the heats. We've seen him time and time make feature through the heat races. You've watched him in not only a hobo car get it done, you've watched him in his car that he runs the Worthy Bail Bonds class in get it done. I feel like his car's a little hurt more this year, so he's going to drive a little bit more conservative than we've seen in the past. I feel like it's going to bode well for him, and I feel like you could very well see him in the winner's circle at the end of this. 7 drivers to watch, though. I'd say keep an eye on the DBR cars. Keep an eye on, like I said, Johnny Edgar. I feel like Jake Timbrook's going to be right there. I feel like you're going to have a battle. Don't be surprised if you see one of the Burton's cars there at the end. There's going to be, I feel like it's going to come down to New Bloomfield versus California at the end or something like that. And Landon's, I've been impressed with that build and his driving style. It fits well for this. So there's multiple people that can be there at the end. I just feel like you never know. It just depends on how the cards play out during the race.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the odds, you know, you just had 2 probably of the top people with the top odds to win the race. I think if you were to ask, you know, any figure 8 fan, it's going to be those 2 guys at the top of the odds list. But if I were making a bet kind of with, you know, with all the drivers done by some bookmaker or some line setter, I'm probably going to put my money on Landon or Nate. I think both of those drivers are going to be finishing up there if I were a betting man. Got the old school tactics. You know, they've seen seen plenty of races that they've been around, this circuit. They know drivers' tendencies. They got the equipment, they got the level headedness. I think both of those drivers will be right up there whenever it's all said and done. Now, if we're going long shots, I got a long shot for you that you probably are not thinking of. So, kind of just going through my reels of these races with a bunch of cars, and you go back to California always, of course, because it seemed like, they would roll out 24 car features or 20 car features regularly. And we talked last time about that guy. I don't know, but there's some drivers like that, they have these bigger cars or harder cars, or they're kind of scrappy whenever it comes to driving. And I'm gonna throw out the Stark brothers, Jay and Jason Stark. They had, I think Jay he ended up making the feature in California. I'm sure. I have a feeling they're going to be at Russellville, and they may be just scrappy enough to, scrap their way through 28 laps and come home with the badass trophy.
Yeah. My long shot in this is gonna be I'm gonna go with Dawson Gump. I've said it earlier, he's been improving tremendously throughout the year. I mean, he took a jump last year, but we've really seen him mature as a driver this year. He's taking care of his equipment. He's not burning his engines down or going 1,000 miles an hour. He just looks like he took a step back and said, "I'm overdriving my car, and it's time for me to, consistently get more comfortable with it." And you've seen it pay off for him. He you used to see his hands flying around in the car, and he would, he'd drive into the corners so hard that you're like, yeah, something's going to break eventually. And I watched him kind of sit behind Landon for 2 laps at Jeff City, and it looked like he grew at that moment as a driver. He started like watching what Landon was doing, and then he followed Chilton for a couple laps and watched what he was doing and put them together. And he kind of developed his own way of taking the corners and driving, and he was going forward at California. And I feel like if he makes the A, don't be surprised if he takes the checkered. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised just because of what I've seen out of him this year, and the growth throughout the year. He's like at the fantasy football season, you got them rookies that come on throughout the year, and then they're in their second year now, and you're like, this player's a breakout player, just waiting to happen. And that's my description of Dawson Gump. He's getting ready to break out. I feel like he's on the verge of it, and don't be shocked when it happens. Even if he is driving for another team next year, I mean, they're
This
rough
may
on
be the race that gets him his next job.
him. There are so many people that you just never know. Um, you could have a person get their first win just because the cards fell right for them this race, and you would never expect it, but they just found the holes open for them at the right time. I mean, there's so much that could happen with 28 cars on that track.
Yeah, everybody talks about having a plan and taking it easy the first couple laps, and you can say all that you want, but it comes back to the old Mike Tyson saying, everybody has their plan till they get punched in the mouth. It's hard to have a plan when you start out in the middle and you're starting sixth row and you're just surrounded by cars, and just kind of like Chilton was saying, you just kind of get pushed wherever they want to push you. If you're in a mob, you're kind of just going with the flow, and all it takes is one Wesley Jordan to come through that mob and take you out. So there's always variables, there's always wild cards, and there's always so much chaos that goes on. I don't think that you can go in with a strategy and then, I mean, I guess you could go into a strategy and stick with it, but that may not always be the best strategy. I think whoever is able to adapt to the race as and take what they can get, and then whenever they see what's open, that they got to take it. It's kind of like you were saying.
I don't expect it uh, to happen, but how cool would it be if I don't even know if he'll be there, but Zach Jewell, he lost his grandpa, and he could dedicate that. We've seen drivers dedicate races to people that are special to them that's passed away, and anyone that knows Zach, his grandpa was huge in his life, and um, we seen it kind of with our uncle Paul back in the day. We just picked a race. We're like, we're gonna race this for him, and we all placed the top four. And last year he was the hard charger. He had 13 positions he picked up, and in the feature, and
17.
how cool, 17. So I stand corrected, but how cool would it be to see him come out and just win? That'd be awesome. But I don't know. There's probably a lot going on with that, and I wouldn't expect him to be there. But if he did show up, that'd be awesome. And if he won, that'd even be cool. Just another thing.
Yeah, I know
I
Zach.
can't.
I grew up with Zach, and I know his grandpa raised him. For those that didn't know, he lived, like, Zach lived with his grandpa, so he was basically his father. And I know he's kind of started him with his own business, and, rented out the shop and kind of brought him along with his construction business. So I know Zach's probably going through it right now. He's Jewel Fab and Zach Jewel are such a big supporter of this event. He actually provides the trophies. We don't pay for those. He just donates them. He's bought a spot as well. So it's gonna be, it's my thoughts and prayers are with Zach for sure.
Yeah, we're praying for him and his family, and then also it's not like we had a local driver getting. I don't know if that was a bad wreck or pretty bad wreck, is Brady Smith, and uh, seems like he's recovering pretty good. So prayers for his continued recovery. He's always fun to watch at the derbies, and oh, he's a big part of the local scene here. He's been at every show that I've been to, or that I've watched pretty much. He's been driving in a lot of shows this year, and he has in the past too. So, before we end this podcast, trying to find the names of all the spots. So, what's unique about the Race for 28 event that's different than a lot of places is they don't like people buy spots to pay out. They pay 28 spots down, and there's different. I haven't seen it. There's different spots through each and every person donate like a certain amount of money to each spot. I think it's like 5th through 28th. Is that right? That are donate all just through donations of different people or businesses, and
Yep. Yeah. So and all that money goes back to the driver. So we kind of put it up on Facebook. We kind of talked about it here, but yeah, we just asked, we put up a post and said, if anybody wants to donate to these spots, they can. If no one donated, we would just cover them anyways. But people are always so willing to help out. And a lot of it's just drivers giving back to drivers. When you look down, JP Lawn Care, Integrity Motors. I'm sure you're about to go through all the list, but man, we cannot thank everyone enough that's jumped on board. We even filled up all 28. I think we put out there if they wanted to donate extra to first through fourth. that's that, that's available too. So a bunch of people did that. I think even derbies at the Show Me State, they had such a good time last year. They're going to come back down, and they donated like $128 to, I think, the winner. And then we also,
I
what's that?
said, "Oh heck yeah, I didn't know that."
Yeah, and
See.
then we also have, people also donate to our, kind of our extra rewards. So people have donated money towards the hard charger. There's going to be a trophy for that. There's people have donated money towards the fastest lap. There's going to be a trophy for that. So it's just awesome to see, everyone giving back to the drivers, and then it definitely helps with the attitudes afterwards as well. Everyone's happy that makes the feature because they're going home with something. It also brings, an interesting aspect as people donate more, because, we just say, we're going to do $50 minimum spot. So people will donate 100. I think there's $150 for one of the random places. So, somebody that gets 16th, let's say, they might make more money than the 6th place driver is. So it's always interesting to watch, just see how that plays out.
Yeah, I didn't even get to see the payouts yet, but I've always, last year we were thinking, man, it was so cool to, like, last place, they got paid more than a lot of spots in front of them. I was like, is someone gonna go out there and break early, or is someone just gonna be like, you know what, I'm just gonna shut it off, you know? And it's just an interesting dynamic to the sport that you don't see at any other race. And but yeah, special thanks to Zach Jewell with Jewell Fabrication and Repair, Roberts Fencing LLC, Landon Worthy, Seth the Westboard. Both of them too are drivers, giving back, like Joshua said. Ferguson Racing with FR Racing. Um, that's another. I mean, a lot of these are drivers. Kyle Wardenhausen giving money back. Farmers Bank of Loman, Jewel, like I said, Jewel Fabrication and Repair. So Zach donated 2 different times. That just shows kind of what kind of guy he is, plus making the trophies. Worthy Bell Bonds, Landon again. Landon donated and Worthy Bell Bonds. Tyler Ray, Integrity Motors, Full Send Mafia, Brandon Thompson, Tracy Snarich, Creative Vision Plumbing, Derbies of the Show Me State, BAS Racing with Wesley Jordan, JP Lawn Care of Jordan Piter, Ray's Lawn and Landscaping was Henry Ray, AJ Bauer with BW Derby Wheels and Tires donating, Randy Fernie with Hard Knocks Concrete, Roy Porter with DNN Pipe and Rod, Stacy's Designs, Michael Belcher, Josh Foxworthy, Chris Roberts, Hans Anderson, and Jared Snurich were. That's just everyone that donated something in some way or form. They're on the back of the Happy Gilmore check that's going to be there. They've got a really cool check this year. They kind of sent me a proof in our little group chat thing that we got going on. Once everybody sees it, hopefully it's not the size of a billboard this year, but when everybody sees it, I know everyone's going to be wanting to bring that home with them. I know as a driver, that's something that I always strive for. Whenever I seen the big checks, you drive a little harder for those big checks. So special thanks to all you guys that donated. It means a lot to us. I know it means a lot to the family. So the drivers really appreciate it too. But yeah, I believe this show is going to start at 7 p.m. Is that right?
Yep.
It's going to be this Saturday, 7 p.m. at Russellville, Missouri. For anyone that's listening in that's like, hey, man, I want to go check that out, but I don't know where to go watch it. That's where it's going to be. Check it out. And if you're in a different state and you're not able to make it, and you want to check it out, go to the Crashed at YouTube. We'll have the videos up as soon as we can. It's just an all out, it's all out craziness is the best way to describe it. I mean, it's just chaos for 28 laps, and there's only one true winner. So,
Or there's three. There's the race for the 28. There's Powder Puff winner. There's the youth
yeah,
winner.
yeah,
If we're running youth, we'll get a firm answer on that, but I think we are.
yeah. I think that I heard somewhere that you guys were.
We
I
have
think a
trophies
lot.
for youth, so I guess we're gonna run them.
I know a lot of the youth drivers that listen, they've been asking. I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe. I don't want to say yes or no. So I just say I don't know. So
Yeah, I'll make sure and put something out.
but
I think either
uh
way, it's always good to see Jacob's family. They're always so supportive of it. I know Full Send Mafia with the Wardenhausen crew, they were really, really close friends with the Foxworthy clan. So it'll be nice to have them as our featured sponsors. Sure it'll get emotional. I remember, just looking everyone that watched that race last year after Kyle won, whether you love him or you hate him, I mean, there was just something so special about, I don't know if he was his best friend, but he certainly was one of his best friends. So there's something special about that. And there's, that kind of moment will always live in my head as, man, I was a part of that, or I got to witness that, and that was so cool, and I can't wait to see what it's going to be this year.
yeah, I think I heard mentioned last year on here after he won, we had him on the podcast, and I think he was more than a friend. He said he was more like a brother to him. So uh it was just crazy to watch, and it's just awesome. I can't wait to see everybody there, and just come watch. If you're not gonna drive, come watch because it's an awesome event. We could sit here and talk all night, but there's so much to love about this event, and so many people to thank, and just so many different elements that could happen. It's just crazy. But we thank everybody for tuning in to this episode. Um, Next week we're gonna recap the race for 28, and then start talking about Mocaine, because Mocaine's the Derby, one of the biggest derbies in the littlest towns. uh, One of our favorite, one of my favorite derbies to go watch, and we'll talk about that, and talk about a little bit of the Donnie Hunter race that's in Sedalia the week after that. We'll talk about all that next week. So
Yeah, before you get
uh,
off there, speaking of that, Donnie Hunter Memorial, there the Lions Club always gives free t-shirts to the drivers. We just posted something on Lucky Seven's Facebook page. She's putting that order in Friday. I just got off the phone with her before I jumped on here. So if you guys are planning to drive in that, just go ahead, comment on that post, get your shirt sizes in. They usually order extras of the smaller sizes, but if you're a bigger guy, and even are thinking about going, you really need to put your shirt size in there, or else they're not going to have one for you. So it's always a cool thing that the Lions Club does, and gives back to our drivers, gives them the free shirt. I still wear my Donnie Hunter Memorial shirts.
oh yeah, me too. But I don't think I mentioned any of the Ferguson boys out there in my predictions, and they
Oh, I
got
thought
good
they
stuff.
retired. I thought they were all running compacts. They're just going to derbies is what I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. They I feel like if they put a smart run together where they don't turn it into a derby, they have the equipment that could withstand 28 laps, and they've got some drivers that can get it done. So we'll see.
Square bodies for life. Square body's
Yeah.
gonna win it. Square body Cavalier or Monte Carlo or a Grand Am. That's my
I don't know.
prediction.
I think a 4-cylinder is gonna win. Their style Cavalier. That was my prediction earlier, and I'm gonna stick with it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Sleep on those V6s. Everybody
Guys,
says
let
they're
us.
running hot. They'll be just fine.
Hey, if you want to comment your prediction in the comments of this YouTube or even on our Spotify when this drops tomorrow, give us a comment. Let us know who you think's gonna win, and we'll just see what the census of the listeners think here. So, but that'll be it for the night, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another podcast. Go out there and send it this week. We know everybody will, and good luck to all the drivers. Can't wait to see everybody. But that'll be a wrap. Thanks.